Hi guys, I'm here in my kitchen in my cruise clothes, which feels a little strange, but whatever, to talk to you about the cruise that we took a few months back for Christmas. So I surprised my kids with a 7-day Christmas cruise this year, long anticipated. We have been trying to do this for years and it just hasn't happened. For context, my daughter Brooklyn is now 20 and my son Jaden is 17. Our cruise included Mexico, Grand Cayman, Jamaica, and of course some relaxing days in between. On the first day, Brooklyn drove up from Florida. Actually, she drove up the night before, 2 days before, so she was already here. But we drove to our port of call, which was New Orleans. And New Orleans is such an amazing destination all by itself. Just driving in there in the middle of the day, we could smell the beignets and the spicy Cajun food and hear all the music and noises that makes New Orleans unique. Our port of call, or the, what do you call it, where the cruise ship comes in, the terminal, I guess, is just a few blocks away from Bourbon Street, which is where everything's happening in New Orleans. So it was a pretty neat place just to head out from. We arrived mid-afternoon and we hadn't eaten anything on purpose because I told the kids to save their appetite so that we could hit the buffet. So that's exactly what we did. I think it was around 4 or 5 o'clock by the time we got checked in, and we headed straight to that buffet. And oh my God, for those of you that have been on cruises, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I have been on a cruise before, not with my kids, but I have been on a couple of cruises. So I knew a little bit what to expect, but it had been a while. And I mean, it's kind of mind blowing, really. It's just too much food. But at the same time, it is fun. And since we were in New Orleans, they had some of the Cajun food available so that we could try that for our first day. So there's a few ideas I got before going on our cruise. I watched YouTube videos myself. I asked my mom and dad, who've been on countless cruises, and they gave me some ideas. But some of these things really made our trip so much easier. So I wanted to share them with you as well. Okay, so the first one is liquid hand soap. The little soap that the cruise ship provides you gets all wet and gooey and nasty. So if you have your liquid hand soap, it will just save you a lot of mess. Then there's a hanging shoe rack. This works so great for us for putting things like sunscreen, baby wipes, creams, lotions, etc. Because, on cruise ships, the bathrooms are just so itty bitty with little to no storage room. So that really helps with saving space. Another space saver is hook magnets. The walls and doors on a ship are magnetic, so use that to advantage to hang up your necklaces or your lanyards with your key on it. Just anything that you can hang on the back of the doors or the walls will just give you organization and help you to save space. So if you can get those ahead of time and just pack them in all over your walls, especially for a 7-day cruise or even longer, for those of you that do a 10-day cruise, in particular, I would say definitely get those magnets before you leave. And finally, don't forget a door decoration. It's so easy to get lost on those cruise ships, on those super long hallways. All the doors look the same, but I grabbed this Christmas door decoration for $1 and it made it so much easier to find our room. Plus, it just made it, a lot more festive and fun. On days 1 and 2, we just relaxed and took in the beautiful views at sea. There's always events like movies and shows going on, but you can get involved as little or as much as you want to. Brooklyn and I treated ourselves to a mother-daughter spa day. Brooklyn got her first massage, and we decided on the deep tissue massage. She was brave. The kind that hurts but makes you feel so good afterwards. Anyways, it was a really fun experience for us to have together while Jaden was off hanging out with his teen group. So on day 3, we got to our first port of call, which was Mexico, Cozumel, Mexico. Now, I do not recommend going on a cruise if you really want to see a place, get the vibe, really experience it. A cruise is not the way to go. But as long as you know what you're getting in for, it can be a lot of fun for just hop off for a few hours. I think we had maybe 5 hours, maybe 8 hours at the most to spend in Cozumel. And all we saw, of course, was the super touristy areas, but it was still a lot of fun. So we hopped off the boat. We went to the beach for that first day. We just grabbed a taxi and found a little beach that had kind of a little resort area where you could just grab chairs and sit out and relax. Jaden and I decided to go snorkeling, which was super fun. And Brooklyn decided to stay and take pictures at the beach and model with an iguana What else did the guy have? Oh, an iguana and a macaw. Hopefully I can find the picture that we took of that, because it was really neat how the macaw like perfectly matched her bathing suit is what I remember from that. We relaxed and had margaritas and drinks. Jaden loved the fact that in Mexico, especially because he looks like a grown man, they don't even think twice about serving him a beer or a margarita. So I let him have a drink while we were there at the beach, and that was a lot of fun for him. Now, probably the highlight of what we did in Mexico actually was after we left the resort to go get something to eat. We got in a taxi, and since I do speak Spanish, I just told the taxi driver to take us to the most local place that he could find that was, close to the port. I said, I want to go someplace where there aren't any gringos, not where all the tourists are, so we can actually have comida típica, typical Mexican food. And he took us to a great place. It was really fun. It was a lot more local place. We had amazing food, and kind of a place where the chickens are running around all around while you're eating, and people are just doing their own thing. But it was a lot of fun to just kind of get off the beaten path for a little bit at least. Okay, and now I am sweating. This is menopause, for those of you that don't recognize it. One moment you're fine. The next minute you're just dripping with sweat. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. Let's see, where was I? Georgetown. Georgetown was our next port of call. It was in succession. If I remember correctly, we had Mexico, Cayman, and Jamaica 3 days right in a row. So the day after Mexico, we had Georgetown, Grand Cayman. And what was really unique about this port was the fact that the cruise ship couldn't go all the way into port. So it was like a ferry basically that came and saddled up next to the cruise ship, and then groups at a time would jump into the ferry and go into the port. I think it took maybe 20 minutes to get into the port. And then we were there. We had a very short window that we were there, if I recall. So all we did basically was go find a restaurant and eat. But we ate some really good food and listened to some great music, walked around a little bit. It was a really interesting area. It was not what I expected, probably as much. But one thing that really stood out to us was the fact that even though it was like a downtown busy area, there were chickens running in the street, just chickens living all amongst the high rises and, the hustle and bustle of Grand Cayman. We got some great t-shirts too. Jaden got a t-shirt, I think, everywhere we went. So as long as he got a t-shirt, he was happy. So Christmas Day we spent in Falmouth, Jamaica. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, if it's Falmouth or Falmouth. I need to look that up. Anyways, so much fun. Brooklyn and Jaden both said that Jamaica was their absolute favorite port out of the 3 that we went to. We came back from that one with a sunburn, at least I did. And of course, a bunch of funny t-shirts like Jamaican Me Crazy. I can't remember all the other ones, but anyways, funny t-shirts. And although it was Christmas, the Jamaicans really turned out. I couldn't believe how much everything seemed to be open on Christmas Day. The port was just hustling and bustling like any other day of the year. Oh, we also came back with some authentic Jamaican rum. Yum. Day 6 was a relaxing day at sea, and by day 7, I think the kids were ready to come home. To describe our quarters, for any of you who've been on a cruise, the quarters are pretty tight. So in our case, we had what felt like maybe a double bed, a full bed that Brooklyn and I shared. And then Jaden's bed came up in like a C over the top of us. And it was some sort of metal contraption. Every time he shifted, he's a big guy, as you can see. Every time he shifted his weight, it would creak and groan. And Brooklyn and I would be underneath sometimes going, oh my God, let's hope it doesn't break. So in any event, it was close quarters for sure. They did really good for the most part, but by the end, I think they were just getting on each other's nerves. So we were probably all getting on each other's nerves. I remember Brooklyn one time was just like, I need space. I need some time to myself. And she would just take her book and go find somewhere and relax for a little bit. We all read a bunch. I think I took 3 books and I read all of them. And Brooklyn and Jaden took some books as well. I didn't expect to have that much time to read them, but because we did have those days at sea and times where just the kids and I needed some time apart from each other, It was really nice to just go find a place on the deck and read. Sometimes we actually would just be in the room together reading, which is not to say we didn't get out and do activities. There was activities to be done too, but it was really nice when we did have the time to just take an hour, especially after eating those big full buffet meals. Sometimes all we wanted to do was come back and lay down and read and relax and take a nap, which is what a cruise is all about. So would I do it all again? Absolutely, 100%. It took so much of the usual stress out of Christmas. We decided in advance that we were not going to do presents because I had spent so much money already on the cruise. So that took a load off already. Then there was the fact that I didn't have to do any cooking, and that was also such a nice break. Now, I love cooking with Brooklyn at the holidays or cooking with my sister when we all get together. But we had just had a huge family reunion for Thanksgiving, huge for our family, not huge to some standards. Anyways, it felt super nice to just be pampered and to be able to relax and not have to spend all that time cooking, and to be able to spend the time instead just together talking, enjoying each other much more than I would say that we have in previous years. Now, I already know that the next cruise I want to do, though, is a solo cruise. Have any of you guys ever done that? I'm really intrigued by the idea. And I must say, after going through a divorce over this past year, I have really found that I enjoy spending time all by myself. Just me, myself, and I. So I think I would really enjoy it. I also enjoy going out and meeting people as well. So there's that opportunity if you want it. But just to spend time by myself for a week or for 3 days, 7 days, I don't care how long it is, I think I would really, really love it. For those of you that have done a solo cruise, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. If you could comment down below, that would really help me. Make sure and check out my last video about Mexico, which came in at number 4 on the global retirement list. It's also where I'm planning to move to next year. And if you're looking for more travel inspiration, I have a lot more where that came from. Thanks for spending some time with me today, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.